Live. So, we're gonna be dead honest with all of you guys. Um, we suck with introductions, so really, you're kind of gonna get what you get
You're
right
gonna
now.
get what you're gonna get.
That's what I'm saying, because, like, we went back and forth for like 20 minutes on how to exactly start this podcast. And, like, don't get me wrong,
Because I
you want to
mean,
prepare. You want to prepare. Am I
right?
am I wrong?
No, I mean, preparedness can be said for pretty much everything, and much like the topic that is going to be centered around this whole podcast type idea is preparedness comes along with it, and wanting to have like all your ducks in order.
Nobody has their ducks in order when they get a horse. Are you kidding me?
I mean, there are those I feel like that really do have their ducks in order. Like they are the person that has everything already there, and they are prepared for the emergencies too.
You know what? You know what? I won't lie. I won't lie. You are correct. But look here. There's a huge debate going on. Huge debate. Quite a few, actually. More than we can probably count. But, like,
Yeah, that's
there's
fair.
one that sticks out is when do you actually account a horse as a senior? Like,
Right, like
what
at
is a
what
senior?
age?
Like, I mean, you could count a horse that has arthritis as a senior at that point. A lot of people
Right,
think that.
or the fact that like the cognitive function that comes with it, where they're not quite like past your pet safe anymore.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. I got my guy when he was 23 and I started showing him. I mean,
Right,
he was 23. That's when I count a horse as a senior, I count as soon as they probably hit about 21 to 23.
I don't know. I feel like we have a 30-year-old Arabian at my barn, so I kind of feel like, and she's very much like dragged her owner down the road today. So
Don't we love those like sparky little Arabians? They're the ones that last the longest, not
okay,
gonna
but
lie.
let's be honest here. Arabians and miniature ponies are like a different kind of breed.
Well, they are a different kind of breed.
I mean, not in the literal sense, but kind of like comparatively to other horse breeds out there, their longevity long term to get into that senior year
Oh yeah. Oh
is
yeah.
like completely different. They don't start slowing down like you would quite expect.
Well, I mean, think about it. Ike, when I got him, again, 23 years old, I had to
Right,
only put him down because of EPM. That that
right,
that's why I had to put him down is because of freaking the possums of the United States. That's
right.
and at that point, it got so bad that it wasn't treatable. I mean, to think he could have lived well on to his 30s. He was good looking. He had weight. He had muscles. I I
Right.
did, however, retire him at the prime age of I think it was 26. I decided that when I moved to Florida that, it was time. He
Right.
he had served his time. He was a famous dressage horse and he held me through all of my shows. That he deserved the same. I mean, don't get me wrong, this horse loved working. I mean, you saw how
Right.
he got. And
I mean, when a horse like that works their whole life, it's really hard for them to get out of that again.
no, exactly. And I mean, he also got retired, quote unquote, at the age of 14 after doing a competitive career from when he was born. I mean, he did a lot of in
Right.
hand, and they retired him at 14 and counted him as a senior.
And, that's another crazy thing to think about is the fact that like the actual show world retirement age, and then like you have the tier level of like the level that we're at and our horses that we show, and then like the strictly show barn their retired horse age. Because
It's,
you gotta also think about like their technical like retired horses at the show at the higher tier show barns then become breeding prospects.
well, I mean, you also got to think it's same for thoroughbreds. Once they hit, what, 4 to 6, they're counted as war horses, which are indicated as seniors.
Yeah.
At 4 to 6 years old, these horses are
I mean,
counted as seniors.
which is so crazy to me because that's when you think about they're just starting their career.
Well, you also gotta think the race industry does kind of destroy them at 2 years old. So I mean,
No, so I mean, comparatively to, and it's also like, I feel like what you're working them with, the
oh yeah,
racing industry is just very hard on the growing joints, and it's a very fast-paced career where if you don't keep up,
yeah, you pretty much can't do it. That's why they get rid of a
right,
lot of horses. They have a lot of ever since I think it was like past the 1850s is when the racing industry kind of started going downhill in their flips. I mean, back before the 1850s, they didn't really have very many prospects that would skip out or fall out of racing like that because they bred
right,
for the sport. Now, a
right,
lot of the breeders are just breeding just cuz. I mean, think about it. People want another secretariat. The hell they're not going to get another secretariat because of how they're breeding. They're not
right. Like,
thinking about anything.
I mean, I don't know if you guys were following the racing industry at all in the past like year, but there was one horse in the racing industry that started matching Secretariat times.
Oh my god, don't even get me started on that horse.
But there was so much controversy behind it that no one like outside of the non-horse industry really heard about it. Like they didn't see the background of it with the vets and the trainers and
Nobody does. I mean, it takes a lot of money to start these animals, and especially getting
right,
yourself a jockey, a trainer into the races, and praying to God that you even pass it.
make it right,
And I mean, think about it. It's all gambling. In
right.
that sort of view is it's weird but not weird at the same time. I mean, again, it's all to anyone with their opinions on the race industry and you know whatever they do now. I mean, that's up to them. That's up to every per racetrack. Um, the only thing that has never sat well with me is the Santa Anita track
Oh
with
yeah.
those incidences. However, I don't think it was the track's fault. That's my one argumentative
No.
piece that I have to this whole ordeal is that technically speaking, it isn't always the track's fault. I mean, yes, that place had the most amount of deaths in horses within, 10 to 15 years, but I mean,
But there's so much more that goes into it than it's just the track. Like you have to think
it's
about the
the
trainers and the
jockey.
owners and the jockeys, and they
Exactly.
run these horses again and again, and then they don't catch like ligament issues. Then they don't catch like anything else.
And again, Santa Anita fell over because of this. And I mean, they
Right.
never thought, well, is it how hard we're training these animals? I mean, think about it.
Is it the nutrition value? Is that meeting what these horses are running caloric wise every single day?
Exactly. I mean, think about a few movies like Dreamer. Dreamer was a thoroughbred mare that had a broken leg, and they used the old hang tactic, and she went back to racing because she
Right.
actually got a nourishment outside of the racetrack.
Right. I feel like when the racetrack works smartly and they include these other sources of like rehab along with the racing, these horses can go back to the racetracks for another season.
But then again, I mean, once the horse misses out on the Triple Crown, it's kind of one of those they're not profitable anymore because think about it.
Right.
You're throwing these horses into this race that tells you whether they're worth it or not. And if they
Right. And
even fail
unfortunately, like
too,
in the grand scheme, the Triple Crown is like the alma mater of
is your horse worthy?
right.
That's literally what it is. Is your horse worthy of that title? I mean, in all reality, again, with the race industry, it is what it is. I have an off the track thoroughbred. She just had a baby. Most beautiful American warm blood baby that I have ever seen. And this mare came to me with the mind and soul of a senior. I know that's going to sound weird. But she gets some spunk. She's, turning 9 this April. She's already 9. I've had her since she was 5. I mean, crazy to think, but I'm not going to count her as a senior either, and I'm not going to count her as a breeding horse. I bred her once. That's it. I bred her for a prospect. I want a future with the baby that mom can't all exactly do because she was a racehorse.
Right, and because I feel because branching off the aspect of the racing world, considerably what me and you do for equitation style, that is more dealing with the more, I guess, the prettier looking side of the horse world, where the rider and the horse itself has to present themselves in a way where the movements and the flow within them are very smooth.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a whole different world, though. You got to think between hunter jumper, cross country. I mean, every one of those are different.
And the horse that you breed and then you take on all has to match those certain qualities.
I mean, think about it. I bred Gunny's amazing shoulder because she had such a round, beautiful, good shoulder.
But we also knew
sucked was her butt.
Right, and because her conformation wasn't great, her top line would have fallen through, so you had to breed smart.
And that's it. Do you realize that deciding to breed my mare was a year after that I got her, that I started looking at studs? I wasn't even thinking about breeding her. I looked at her conformation. I looked at what I wanted. And I got what I wanted. And it was, I butcher the name every time, guys. It's like French or something. It's Don Croissant.
Hey, that was the best one I've heard from you yet.
Oh, Don Croissant. Like a croissant at the end.
Right. But
Bro,
you want to talk about gorgeous conformation, guys. Oh my God. This was a stud that... This honestly was a stud that was, amazing.
I won't lie. He really was a good stud. When I found him, I was actually looking at another horse that they had, Long Island Tea, out of Lotus Tea. Because I loved Lotus Tea's conformation. He was the epitome of old Holsteiner breeding. I'm talking not overbred and not underbred. He was the right.
If you think of the old Holsteiner breed and how they were supposed to look, he had everything conformation wise.
He even had more. He had more to offer. He didn't have a downward, upward slope. He was just even. But his son, and I'm not speaking bad at all. Again, people have their preferences, but his son, if you were to ever, you saw the pictures, Molly. I mean, he is an upward slope. His butt, for some reason, just curves underneath him. And, that's not a good fit for me. I
feel and to each their own rider style and how everyone rides. Some people like having that kind of look to them underneath them, depending on their equitation style. But I know for you and for me personally, I don't like having that, conformation that gets their butt, underneath them. I like having that rounded conformation.
No, exactly. And I mean, DQ was that. I mean, he had jumper lineage to the beginning, actually. But they used him as a dressage because he showed exceptional temperament. But he also did jumping. Do you realize that this stud was considered for the 2014 Rio Olympics? He was actually a backup for in case one of the horses fell ill or something. He was he was pre-qualified for the 2014 Rio Olympics.
It was crazy that a horse of that stature got considered for it.
Hey guys, don't get me wrong. I mean, I only spent $700 on, breeding with this horse because I did 2-year early booking. I did 2-year early booking and I literally only spent $700. And I mean, they took phenomenal care of me. They looked at my mare and they were like, this is good. this is good. And, you know, I had a really, really, really weird experience. Like, I met the stud, super nice. However, this barn is a very big learning barn. Like, that's where they send their horses off and, you know, to retire and become their studdish little selves.
Right.
I inseminated my own horse, guys. I've never shoved my arm
like violated your own horse like that.
I violated my own horse. I felt violated. I was literally shoulder deep, and I was just like, oh my god.
Right.
And then he was explaining, look for the sausage, and I'm just like,
what do you mean the sausage?
I don't understand. Like, you guys can find that video, actually, like, in my selection. It was my breeding day one. Like, you guys can find that. Like, you could see how awkward it was for me because, like, I don't know. Like, I make jokes at my mare every day being like, yeah, I'm the baby daddy. Woo! Like...
Right. And, like, you know, guys, what's is crazy to think about is most stature barns where you are getting this type of breeding quality, the owner has zero part in the actual insemination of their own mare.
I know. I was about to say, because they have a super, like, nah, you're not doing it. But
right.
Andreas he just was like, so this is your first baby and this is her first baby? And I was just like, yeah. And he was like, all right, you're doing it. And I was just like, what? And
right, like, they cared so much for you and for the mare and for the quality of the breeding that they were perfectly fine having the owner do it.
Yeah, and I mean, he was right next to me the whole time, and now I have a beautiful, chromy, like, she picked up Daddy's Blaze hardcore, and I'm
my
so
god.
happy.
And, like, guys, you don't understand how long, like, me and Gwen spent, like, in the very beginning stages of this mare being pregnant, of talking about whether she'd have dad's color or the kind of color producing that this mare would produce.
We don't even know what color this baby's gonna... Oh my god, Molly, by the way, her nose. You know how Ike had that, like, white spot? Not the white spot, but the cream champagne look right around that dark part of his nose?
Oh,
like, he had the heart.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He had... It wasn't pitch black, but, like, he had definitely the black heart tone to his nose.
I definitely know what you mean.
And like, Celine has that.
That's crazy.
And she has the white cream champagne popping up around it. Weird. I'm just saying. Just a wee bit weird. And I mean, when I tell you, I've seen foals before, and I've never really seen them fluffy. I know that's gonna sound weird. But, like, I've never seen a foal with a thick coat. My little filly, Celine, has a thick coat. I'm talking swirly little coat. Like, I don't understand a thing. Again, this is my first time ever breeding. I'm learning as I go. Like, that's just kind of how to do it.
And, like, as a topic in itself, like, I think the most baby experience I had was when Mustang quarter horse mare was born on my farm, and the most experience I had with that, like, I didn't have to deal with, like, the insemination or anything of that because mom was pregnant and had birth on the farm. I, however, realized how god awful Mustangs are around their babies. Like, Gunny as a mom is great with you and Celine and having you around the baby.
Oh no, Molly, no. When that baby was first born and I put them in that stall, when I tell you the vet came out, she was she in the nicest way possible. I hated that mare. Like, I didn't know this horse. Like, my mare was aggressive. My mare threw me into a wall.
Oh,
I had to use a
she
chain.
actually got the aggressive tendencies.
I had to use a chain on her, Molly. Like, the thing that I hate admitting. Like, I don't like using it unless you're, like, in danger. I had to use it. She was lashing out. That's crazy
for me to think about.
No, because she's such a sweet horse, and then finally, now she kind of, like, calls, and then she goes back to what she's doing. Like, she let me and Maverick touch the baby, but I think The whole thing is when, yes, you should mess with the baby right when it's born, but it's different with maiden mares. If you've got a mare that's, done it 100 times, that's fine. With a maiden mare, you let her figure out what the hell that thing is. You do not get involved unless you are needed to. Like,
right, because I feel
really
like when
had
it's
to
a
realize
maiden
that.
mare, like, that's a whole new kind of ballpark for them, and
Exactly, and these hormones and this thing that's now following her around that she feels this attachment to or doesn't feel attached to.
right, and she's kind of like, what the hell is this?
Exactly. And, again, I had never seen Gunny act like that before, and it was a big shocker for me. And
Honestly, what I think about is the fact that, like, sometimes us with our own horses, we don't realize their true potential. The fact that they are truly at a basis, like, flight or fight creature. And when our own horses don't give us that flight, or they've been just flighting and they don't give us that fight reaction of where they are actually mean, or they react in a way that hurts us, their own owners, when we've never seen that before, is going to be a shocker, because we didn't almost expect that.
No, because, think about it. You think you know your horse.
Right.
It's how everyone is. You think you know your horse. I won't lie. I kind of don't care what I do around my own horses, but when people are around my horses, I care. Like, I'll stand right behind my horse, lean on her butt, and talk to people. But if someone else does that, it's not okay.
You get a little nervous.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, at some points, I should feel nervous for myself. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and it's going to be my own fault.
Right. Right, and, like, I feel like on this topic the other day, like, I went to go see my own horse, and he has been known to do, I will admit, some really awful things. Yes, we are talking about Tempo.
Oh my god.
Just to clear it up for you guys, I got this horse when he was 3 years old from a show barn. They told me that he had all these, like, nice bells and whistles, and he had, like, no flat to him whatsoever. So I read him from the ground up. I round pen trained him. We did liberty training, and this horse was known to be a spinner. He has spun me off so many times now that I can't even think about it. But, like, the other day I went to go see him, and I was alone in the stall with him, and I didn't even think twice about it. And he went to go put his ears back at his neighboring stallmate and whipped around really quick, and I didn't think to move, and I didn't think to, look at it, that he was going to kick me. I just stood there because I had the assurance that he wasn't going to hurt me. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no, yeah, you always get, think about it. Gunny has never, ever, ever kicked out at me on purpose. If I was messing with something that hurt her, yeah, I'm going to expect my horse to kick out. If I'm making her feel uncomfortable, yeah, she's going to do that. I'm not going to get onto my horse if it's something that pains them. Like, if they, like, Celine, okay, she's a baby. I did, however, get onto her a little bit about it. But I touched that little bump that she's accumulated on her knee, which, guys, don't come after me about it, okay? It's fine. It's fluid. We're getting it resolved. Anyway, and I touched it. And she was uncomfortable, and she came down, and she gave me that response that she was uncomfortable, and she bit me. However, I did get on to her about it because she was a baby, but afterwards, I was a lot more precautious about how I was touching it.
Right. You were able to change how you approached her about it. You were changed how you were feeling it, so she didn't have to feel that uncomfortable, like, that she had to protect it.
Exactly, and however, like I said, I did get on to her because she's also a baby.
And
that doesn't mean that I, can't touch you there. It just means, okay, I'm going to retry my approach. Horses are all about respect and approach, and people just don't understand that. Like,
no, I feel like when you have these old style trainers that are all about just pressure and pressure and pressure, they don't realize that with that. I mean, yes, I myself will admit with my own horse that pressure, that intense kind of pressure, is great when you are trying to send a message along.
Oh, yeah.
But there comes a point where you need to stop all the pressure and then listen to what they're telling you. That if they even responded to the pressure, or if you need to try a different tactic.
I'm working with this guy. His name's Pedro. You gotta roll the R. Pedro. You know? Try and say Pedro.
Right.
I don't know. I just say Pedro. And did you know that... well, you didn't. This guy's from Venezuela. Had over 150 acres. And are you ready for which horse that he had?
What?
He had Highbrow Cat.
Oh my god.
Metallic Cat's brother.
Okay, guys, just so we can like clarify the fangirlingness of that we are doing here. Metallic Cat was one of the well-known, oh my god, just this most gorgeous
sexy
quarter
horse. Let me get a bite of that quarter horse, you know?
Like when you talk about like in the equestrian world, there are qualities about a quarter horse that are just so well known. Like quarter horses have big, beautiful booties.
However, I won't lie, it is sometimes too much. Metallic Cat, just right in the mat. It's just right. Like there are these like over muscle. I'm talking ugly.
Yeah, I have seen some weird.
But so funny story. Actually, did you know that Highbrow Cat died this year as well?
What?
Along with Don Quachon.
That's
both
weird.
From colic. But what's funny is Pedro, which I don't really know if this is something I'm supposed to be saying, but let's just say he had to leave Venezuela in a certain predicament, and he lost everything. Highbrow Cat, all 26 of the pregnant mares that he had, all 7 of the studs that he had, and that's how Highbrow Cat came to the United States. And it's bizarre to me to think that you could lose so much in just one day. And have to restart all over again after everything that you set up for your life. And having Highbrow Cat, I mean, come on. Highbrow Cat was a really nice looking quarter horse.
He was like he definitely took after his daddy. Like,
oh, trust me. And then think about Dual Cat. I mean, Dual Cat was another brother, but Dual Cat was a lot less known. I'm guessing. Right. Do you know who Dual Cat is?
I very vaguely I know who Dual Cat is. Not as much as like his brother or Metallic Cat.
Yeah, exactly. See, there are brothers that are known, and then there are brothers that are just not known. And it's bizarre how that works. But those are the good quarter horses. Those are the good ones. And this guy, right? He wants to work with Gunny. For free.
What?
Yeah. He wants to teach her cutting. He wants to teach her barrels. He wants to do something with her because he can see the potential that this mare has. Isn't that so funny? My mare going from an English pleasure to a nice down.
Nah, that's wild to me because, like, in the joking manner of everything,
my horse kind of special, you know. Yoo-hoo.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I think I would love to see Gunny doing like some nice little barrel racing because I think she'd love it.
Oh my god, I swear to god, I could go and win $200. Oh, I'd be rich. You know what that would go to, Molly?
Baby bills?
Oh, you're so right. Nah, but for real though, I'd love to see Gunny do, you know, like work with cows and do barrels, like I'd have to learn, but I think it'd be something, you know, because here in Florida, I don't want to travel all the way to Ocala, WEF, Grand Oaks. Like, I don't want to travel all around and realize just how preppy everything is when I could go to a rodeo and have
Right.
the time of my life, drinking some, the apple juice, wink, wink, the apple juice, and get on my horse and
Right.
go.
Right, and like that's another crazy thing to think about, guys. And like there is such a standard for hunter jumper equitation shows, like when you're there compared to rodeos. Like rodeos are so loose and fun and loud. I swear to God, every hunter jumper equitation flat class I go into, it has been dead silence.
Are you ready?
Other than the nasty glares from
All
everyone.
you hear is this. Oh my God, I don't know if you guys can hear it. Do you hear it?
What?
That's it. The golf claps.
Oh my God,
That's
right.
all you get. That's literally all you get.
Right. Like, I can't, like, and oh my God, I cannot think about the amount of times I've seen some poor girl go flying into the fences.
Oh my God, I shouldn't be laughing at that. Oh my God. Such a cruel
Not
person.
because I get, no. And like, and the standard that everyone does, well, during like a fall like that, and then you go to a rodeo where there's literally it's a literal competition of guys being chucked off bulls.
Oh my God, it's so entertaining.
Like, and that's the literal basis of it. It's crazy to me.
Cowboy go wee.
Right? And, like,
oh my God. No. That's just it's beyond crazy for me. Like, I don't know. I could just be wrong, and it could just be how we think, but again, I mean, there are so many subjects that we can go over in the equine world that we could make hours and hours and hours of talking and still
right.
and still not be done.
Right. And like when we talk about like and the topics there are, and there's so many different opinions everyone has on the different topics in general about the horse world, that like no one's ever going to agree with you on anything. Like I feel like there's always something someone has to say against something, whether that be tack, whether that be how you're riding, what you're using to ride, or the type of horse you're riding.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on the type of horse. I swear. I'm sorry. I have a very, very, very... I just know that to a T. I went to a show, and I'm not gonna call it out, but the state I was in, I will call it out. I was in New Hampshire. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, Molly.
Oh my God, I do.
I had my one Arabian and my one thoroughbred. But get this. The first year, we're going to start at the beginning. The first year, I had my two Arabians. Okay? Ike, my dressage horse, being out of season for 2 years, I just decided to throw in a show. The first show, I got 4 first place and 2 seconds, and then on Bo, I got like 3 thirds and 2 fourths because Bo was a work in progress.
Yeah, he was special.
Yeah, especially after he crushed me, but that's a story for another time.
Right.
And funny story, I go to the second show and I'm like so proud of myself, so happy. And then I see the judge.
Right.
They skip this system by doing 4 shows a year. The first show every year has a different judge. And then the 3 other ones have the same judges each and every year. And you want to know what they like? You want to know? These nice, special little pleasure quarter horses that are from a special barn. And you know what my Arabians and my thoroughbred mare that moves like a hunter gets?
Right.
She gets last.
Mm-hmm.
All of my horses get last place. And he told me, he said, you shouldn't bring an Arabian to this show. And your thoroughbred? Mm-mm.
No, because you're literally like I used to know exactly what you're talking about because I literally,
Mm-hmm.
guys, my first year, like 2 years that I spent showing, I showed a halflinger, and I don't mean no sporty like nifty halflinger. I showed a short, stocky, was not meant to be jumping halflinger,
I was about to
and
say that's one chunky halflinger. I remember that one.
right, and like I loved him. That kind of horse had the he could move and he could jump higher than I swear to God some of those tiny little Welsh ponies or those quarter horses. And he could like I remember like one of the judges from after like my hunter equitation shows that I went to in Maine.
Oh
I
my
won't know say
god.
which show I went to,
Which
but I was
one?
showing in Maine,
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
and
Are we talking about a fair or
no, I'm talking about one of the higher levels. Like
Oh, I
I
know
was
what you're talking about.
qualifying for Down East,
I know what you're yep.
and
Yep.
one of the judges had something against him. I don't know what it was. I don't know. All I know is I got there and I did the show and we were perfect. Like, and we did so good and I was so proud of him. And they put me in dead last.
I'm telling you, these judges biased. I
And
hate
honestly,
biased judges. Oh my god, they just make me go critically insane. Cuz like
like, and the
I don't
easiest way I
understand.
can like put it up against is any like high school referee for like a basketball
Oh
game or
my
anything like
god,
that you absolutely hate.
stop. I wanted when I was back in high school, I wanted to tackle one of them so bad when I was in lacrosse because I
Right.
got
Like
so mad.
and like the same thing for me when I was in softball. Like, I swear to God, there were some umps that their calls were so bogus. I was like, what are you even
Oh
seeing?
my god, for a girl, for me, quote unquote, tripping a girl, I got
Right.
called, so then I accidentally tripped her and I didn't get called. I was just like, what?
Right. And I'm like, what are the fucking double standards that you got here, guys? Like,
No, 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 exactly. I don't. Makes my head hurt thinking about it each and every time.
right.
I can't even begin to describe how I feel about that. Ugh. What are we doing on time, guys?
I don't know.
What are we doing on time? Because I don't even know what time it is.
Oh, it's like 9:37.
When did we start this?
It's been like an hour.
Oh shit. Dang, guys, we just had so much information to fill your guys' heads with. I mean,
Right. But I
dang.
feel like at some point we got to start wrapping it up so we can have more content or
I know, guys. We're gonna wrap it up. This is it. We just this is just a basic understanding of just kind of talking and really going over some things. Now, we would be interested if you guys would love to get involved in the comments and us read off comments and as well as
right. Let us
answer them.
know. Yeah, let us know in future kind of podcasts what you guys want us to talk about. If there's something you guys feel like really strongly about, or like if you want to get into nutrition or anything else you guys want to talk us about, let us know
That way we can actually,
and we'll go
help
from
you
there.
guys understand because we get it. We were there at some point where we didn't have the help that we needed.
Right, and I
Yeah.
feel like with all these people that are talking about it, it's really hard to understand the kind of like horse world, so there's not those people's commenting that you don't understand or you're talking about something that you think you have a lot of knowledge about when it's only like a very small portion of it.
And exactly, and we aren't judgmental here. We believe everyone has a say in their opinions. However, sometimes those opinions can be
Much.
a little much, and we aren't rude about it. It's just it's calling out certain things that need to be called out, like what we did with
Right.
the showings. However, we try our best not to really involve the actual people's names or everything that's going on pretty much. It's just
Right.
it's one of those. So, again, if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section and this will be our first podcast.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.